Global updates.
Welcome to the Global Updates, bringing you the latest news from around the world. A century of trade. The Panama Canal's enduring legacy. The Panama Canal stands as a testament to human ingenuity and global trade. For over a century, this vital waterway has served as a lifeline for international commerce. It connects the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans through a 50-mile channel, slashing shipping times and costs. The impact on global trade has been immeasurable. Before the canal's construction, ships had to navigate treacherous routes around the tip of South America. This added weeks to their journeys and increased the risk of accidents and delays. The Panama Canal revolutionized shipping, facilitating the transport of goods between the Americas, Europe, and Asia. The canal's impact extends far beyond economics, however. It has played a pivotal role in shaping geopolitics, influencing international relations, and fostering cultural exchange. Its strategic importance has made it a focal point of both cooperation and conflict. Today, as we grapple with the unprecedented closure of the Panama Canal, it's crucial to understand its historical context. The canal's legacy is deeply intertwined with the interests of global powers, and its current fate will have far-reaching consequences. American footprint, a legacy of control and controversy. The United States has long played a dominant role in the history of the Panama Canal. In the early 20th century, the U.S. supported Panama's independence from Colombia, securing the rights to build and control the canal. The construction, completed in 1914, was a remarkable feat of engineering, but it came at a cost. The U.S. exerted significant political and economic influence over Panama during its decades of control over the canal. This presence often bred resentment among Panamanians who felt their sovereignty was compromised. The 1977 Torrijos-Carter treaties marked a turning point. These treaties initiated the gradual transfer of control of the canal to Panama. The process culminated in 1999 when Panama assumed full sovereignty over the waterway. Despite the handover, the U.S. maintained a keen interest in the canal's security and operation. The legacy of U.S. involvement in Panama remains a complex and sensitive issue. The recent events surrounding the canal's closure have once again thrust the U.S. into the spotlight, reigniting old tensions and raising new questions about its role in the region. Rising tensions, drought, and the specter of closure. In recent years, the Panama Canal has faced an escalating crisis, a severe drought. The canal relies on vast amounts of fresh water to operate its locks, which raise and lower ships as they traverse the isthmus. Dwindling rainfall and rising temperatures attributed to climate change have pushed the canal to its operational limits. The Panama Canal Authority implemented water-saving measures, including limiting the number of ships allowed to pass each day. However, these efforts proved insufficient as the drought intensified. The situation reached a critical point in early 2025. With water levels in the canal's reservoirs at historic lows, fears of a complete shutdown loomed large. The economic and logistical implications of such a closure sent shockwaves through the global community. The world watched anxiously as the crisis unfolded, uncertain of what the future held. The Panama Canal Authority, desperate for a solution, engaged in frantic negotiations with various countries, seeking assistance and expertise to avert catastrophe. The fate of the canal, and the stability of global trade, hung precariously in the balance. A bold move. U.S. takes control of the Panama Canal. In a move that stunned the world, the United States, citing imminent economic disaster and national security concerns, took control of the Panama Canal. The U.S. government argued that the Panama Canal Authority was ill-equipped to handle the crisis, and that swift, decisive action was needed to prevent a global economic meltdown. The takeover was swift and decisive. U.S. troops, deployed under the banner of providing humanitarian aid and technical expertise, secured key infrastructure points along the canal. The Panamanian government, caught off guard, issued a formal protest, denouncing the move as a violation of their sovereignty. The international community reacted with a mixture of shock and condemnation. Many nations accused the U.S. of exploiting the crisis to reassert its dominance over the strategically vital waterway. The U.S. defended its actions, claiming they were necessary to protect its interests and those of the global economy. China's outrage accusations and rising global tensions. China, a major user of the Panama Canal and a rising global power, reacted with particular fury to the U.S. takeover. The Chinese government accused the US of engaging in neo-imperialism, seeking to control global trade routes for its benefit. Chinese officials pointed to the U.S. quote, as history of intervention in Latin America as evidence of its ulterior motives. The crisis further strained the already tense relationship between the US and China, fueling a geopolitical rivalry that has been simmering for years. China, along with several other nations, called for an emergency meeting of the United Nations Security Council to address the situation. The US, however, remained defiant, asserting its right to protect its interests and dismissing international criticism as unfounded. The standoff over the Panama Canal highlighted the growing divide between the US and China, raising fears of a new Cold War. Global trade at a standstill. The economic fallout begins. The closure of the Panama Canal sent shockwaves through the global economy. With the vital trade route severed, the flow of goods between Asia, the Americas, and Europe ground to a halt. Shipping companies faced massive losses as cargo ships were stranded, unable to complete their journeys. The cost of shipping goods skyrocketed as companies were forced to reroute their cargo around the tip of South America, adding weeks to transit times and significantly increasing fuel costs. Consumers around the world felt the impact as prices for imported goods, from electronics to food, soared. The crisis exposed the fragility of the global supply chain, heavily reliant on the smooth operation of the Panama Canal. The world watched anxiously, hoping for a swift resolution to the crisis, but the path forward remained uncertain. A world divided, the geopolitical implications of the crisis. The Panama Canal crisis has had profound geopolitical implications, exacerbating existing tensions and creating new alliances. The United States faced sharp criticism from many countries, including some of its traditional allies, for its unilateral action in taking control of the canal. Latin American nations, wary of the United States' long history of intervention in the region, expressed deep concern over the takeover. The crisis provided an opening for China to strengthen its ties with Latin American countries, offering economic assistance and diplomatic support. Russia, eager to challenge United States hegemony, also seized the opportunity to bolster its influence in the region. The Panama Canal crisis highlighted the shifting balance of power in the world, with the United States facing increasing challenges to its dominance. Charting a new course exploring alternative trade routes. The closure of the Panama Canal has forced the world to confront the urgent need for alternative trade routes. With the future of the canal uncertain, countries and shipping companies are scrambling to find ways to keep goods moving. One option is to reroute ships around the tip of South America, but this adds significant time and cost to journeys. Another possibility is to transport goods by rail or truck across the American continents, but this is also expensive and logistically challenging. Some experts believe that the crisis presents an opportunity to invest in more sustainable and resilient transportation infrastructure, such as high-speed rail lines or even airships. The search for alternative trade routes is a reminder of the interconnectedness of the global economy and the need for diversification and innovation. The need for cooperation, building a more resilient future. The Panama Canal crisis serves as a stark warning to the world. It underscores the fragility of critical infrastructure and the urgent need for international cooperation to address global challenges. Climate change, geopolitical tensions, and economic instability pose significant threats to global security and prosperity. No single nation can solve these problems alone. The crisis should serve as a wake-up call, prompting nations to work together. Investing in resilient infrastructure, promoting sustainable practices, and fostering dialogue and cooperation are essential to building a more secure and prosperous future for all. The fate of the Panama Canal hangs in the balance, but it is ultimately up to the global community to chart a new course toward a more resilient and interconnected world. As the world grapples with the implications of the Panama Canal crisis, nations around the globe have begun to mobilize. Governments are convening emergency summits, seeking collaborative solutions to mitigate the impact on international trade and supply chains. Narrator, in the United Nations, resolutions are being drafted to address the immediate challenges while also focusing on long-term strategies to prevent future crises. Narrator countries are increasing investments in technological innovations aimed at improving the efficiency and resilience of global trade networks. Narrator, meanwhile, international organizations are stepping up efforts to provide humanitarian aid and economic support to regions most affected by the canal's disruptions. Narrator. The private sector is also playing a critical role, with companies exploring alternative logistics solutions and diversifying their supply chains to reduce dependency on single points of failure. Narrator. Amidst these efforts, there is a growing recognition that climate change and geopolitical stability are deeply interconnected, necessitating a holistic approach to global security. Narrator. This crisis has shown that the world is more interconnected than ever, and that collective action is not just preferable but essential. Narrator. As the international community rallies together, the hope is that this crisis will serve as a catalyst for a more resilient and cooperative global future. Narrator. The Panama Canal may be a singular point of contention today, but its legacy can inspire a new era of global unity and collaboration. As the Panama Canal crisis unfolds, attention is turning to technological innovations that could revolutionize canal management and prevent future disruptions. Narrator. Autonomous ships equipped with advanced navigation systems are being tested to ensure safer and more efficient passage through the canal's complex waterways. Narrator. Drones and AI-powered surveillance systems are being deployed to monitor canal conditions in real time, providing critical data to operators and decision-makers. Narrator. Digital twin technology is also being explored, allowing for virtual simulations of the canal's operations. Narrator. This enables predictive maintenance and more effective crisis management. Narrator. Additionally, advancements in water management technologies are being considered to address the ongoing drought and ensure a sustainable water supply for the canal's operations. Narrator. These innovations represent a significant investment in the future, aiming to create a more resilient and adaptable Panama Canal capable of withstanding the challenges of a changing world. Narrator. As these technologies are developed and implemented, the hope is that they will not only safeguard the canal, but also set new standards for global trade infrastructure. Narrator. In the face of adversity, the drive for innovation and progress continues, promising a brighter and more secure future for the Panama Canal and the world at large. As we navigate through the challenges posed by the Panama Canal crisis, it becomes imperative to reflect on the lessons learned and the strategies that will shape the future. Narrator. One of the most significant lessons is the importance of proactive crisis management and the need for robust contingency plans. Narrator. Governments and stakeholders must collaborate closely to ensure that policies are in place to address unexpected disruptions. Narrator. Another crucial takeaway is the value of international cooperation. The Panama Canal is a global asset, and its stability relies on the collective efforts of nations worldwide. Narrator. Diversifying trade routes and investing in alternative pathways can mitigate the risks associated with over-reliance on a single canal. Additionally, the crisis has underscored the need for sustainable practices. Environmental stewardship and resource management are vital to the canal's longevity. Innovative water management techniques and conservation efforts will play a critical role in ensuring the canal's future moving forward. It's essential to foster a culture of innovation. Embracing cutting-edge technologies and continuously improving infrastructure will help the Panama Canal remain a cornerstone of global trade. In conclusion, the Panama Canal crisis serves as a wake-up call and an opportunity for growth. By learning from the past and implementing forward-thinking strategies, we can build a more resilient and prosperous future. The path ahead may be challenging, but with determination and collaboration, the Panama Canal will continue to be a vital artery of global commerce for generations to come.